My colleagues have talked about many interesting systems, and I know there will be more reports after me. All this falls into the category of knowledge that we work with and what we offer to our contractors, as from the point of view of information technology, as well as from the point of view of innovation approaches and new methods. We are based in Ukraine, Kiev, but our projects cover the CIS countries, Baltic countries. We also act in Eastern Europe. We also operate in Eastern Europe, Bulgaria, Poland, Slovakia. I like this slide. It shows how the concept of working with data and perceiving data has changed. In 1980s, when IT was newborn and compared to what we have now, the amount of data generated by humanity is becoming bigger, and we can no longer process this massive amount of data separately. We will be able to speak about this in greater detail at the backstage and at coffee breaks, but today I would like to touch upon three important issues which, according to my preliminary information, have not been well represented at the Georgian market so far, and I would like to make you take a look at the issues and challenges you have in your business from a different angle. So, a modern application, no matter what it is like, it is no longer bound to a single server, to a single database. It can be virtualized, it can be slathered upon several technologies and several other, or maybe even several applications. So the interface screen that you see, that is provided to you, is not always very informative and doesn't always tell you what's going on with your application, but still you may work with it, you may switch its databases, you may do whatever you want with it, but you might not always understand what exactly is going on. And obviously this affects your business. What we offer to our clients allows them to take a look exactly at what their applications are doing. We track business transactions. So, for example, an e-shop, a digital shop, where numerous business transactions takes place. You are obviously familiar with it, such as these small transactions include logging in to your account, adding goods that you like to the cart and checking out and transferring money. So our solution tracks the application at the level of these tiny business transactions, and we immediately get a map of how our application works, which allows us to take a look and evaluate whether we have issues, whether we have problems, whether we have glitches or bugs, or what kind of systems are active, or what systems are enabled for this or that transactions. We do not yet know that our client may not yet see the giant red scary error button or error window, error pop-up, but we already know what's going on. We already know where we have problems with streaming or whatever. So our main idea is monitoring work of the business application itself, not its separate components. Considering that our applications become more and more complicated as time passes, we're not talking small businesses, we are talking about national and multinational projects. Here we have heard the word smart city many times today, and dealing with each of the components of such a massive project separately will not help you detect the problem and will not help you see the bigger picture. And our solution will allow you to do exactly that. Despite the complexity of projects we're dealing with, you have seen all it today. We have cloud computing, we have multi-cloud data and whatever not, but it is still, our solution is still applicable. But I would like to offer you one thing. It's called data as a service. Imagine what VMware company has done when it presented its hypervisor for work with servers. It was a massive breakthrough from the point of view of properly utilizing resources and efficiently using them, from the point of view of understanding what resources you possess. And this kind of information has allowed you to get, regardless of whatever server, storage or device you were using, it allowed you to get the virtual machine you needed with exactly the parameters you needed. We did not care about its RAM, we did not care about its hardware capacity, we just got exactly the machine we needed. The picture we have here, it reflects the current approach as we have it. There is productive environment which brings company revenue, in which business applications work. It is very well protected. It is very well serviced by administrators and so on. But still, the company always has a tendency towards expansion. It has a tendency towards adding functions, towards correcting mistakes. So now what we get is unproductive environment. When it happens when we make a copy of our system, upload all the data we have in it and start processing it. This doesn't bring you revenue, and sometimes the data you are using in such a system is outdated. So the best way to create a productive environment for your clients is to take data gathered over the last couple of days, or at least over the last week. So the newer data you have, the more efficient your work will be. And in days such as ours, when we're working with applications and environments where data changes several times per second, in our solution, when using our solution, you are able to specify what kind of information, in what amounts, and to which users you provide, and you are able to ration out data exactly the way you want it. And now let us switch to the third trend that I would like to talk about. It's more about data security, and this picture also reflects very well that we have a single point of control over unproductive environments. A bit of statistics and a bit of analysis first. We had a lot of research done and a lot of analysis done. So as it turns out, 98% of data that are threatened are stored in our databases, in our company's databases, physically. So it's all about data as a service when most of the data contained in our service is provided as a service. And the largest amount of data leaks and data theft happens precisely in unproductive environments. So, for example, you made a report to your client with data about credit cards or business transactions and so on, but this information is old and it can be easily compromised. Here we have a productive database which has 4 administrators who maintain it. And if you want to create copies of this data, we immediately involve the testing department. So you create testing department, you create an analytical department, and so on. And the amount of people who work with this data increases, which represents a problem, because rationing out data to such an amount of people is definitely far from a trivial task. People in Ukraine and in Belarus are very fond of the term depersonalization of data, but we prefer masking of data. So we are able to separate data really necessary for the business and data which can possibly compromise your clients or your staff. So you have all this critical data, important data, all the logs of transactions from business cards. So all this is masked, all this is depersonalized, but so you can't demask this data because it's designed that way, but this data is also an accurate representation of real-time information. So basically you get real-time copies without revealing any personal data. So you have relevant information with all the unpleasant bits and pieces blocked. So the problem with masking data is not a difficult one if we are talking about some particular piece or a snippet of information. But when you take a look at my previous slide, it is almost impossible to track all these connections manually. So the solution we offer allows to do this automatically, but with tracking data and masking it on the fly. So the system works with original data. Then you have a system. When you have such a system in your company, all is well. It gives away data intact, and when you need to make a copy, it continues the concept of data as a service. But as you know, if you know that the copy will contain data critical for your business or crucial for your business, you can use depersonalization, you can use masking. So you will provide the information your client requests or something that you need, and while obscuring all the risky bits. So your company stays invulnerable because the data that you supply can no longer be utilized outside the originally intended purpose. So this is what we talked about today. I hope you found our approach and our solution interesting, because they allow you to take a look at the problematics of business applications from a different angle. It allows your business to operate without interruptions, it increases efficiency of your data management, and protects personal components of your data streams. By the way, these are not the only solutions that our company deals with. Unfortunately, we are out of time, so all I have left at the moment is to thank you for your attention. I am here if anyone wants to contact us.